Hi, honest discussioner here. Welcome to Bourbon Musings episode 2, Scotch. I'll probably add another title later. And before anyone jumps on me, yes, I know that Scotch and bourbon are two different things, although they are both whiskeys. But I'm trying to do a series here, so and I have a good reason for drinking Scotch this time, which I'll go into in a second. So if you have a problem with that, screw you. Anyway, I am drinking Teacher's Scotch whiskey, a perfection of blended, bottled in Scotland. This bottle is most likely about at least a decade old, bottled before the millennium. It belonged to my grandfather, who passed away Thanksgiving 2001, and I went to take my grandmother to see a show in the city. And on my way back, she decided to give me these bottles that belonged to him. And yes, thought I would muse a little bit on my grandfather and tell you his story. Now, he passed away in 2001, and I'm sure that he would most likely not be too happy that I'm doing atheist videos on YouTube, especially. He'd probably be a little confused about what YouTube is in general. But I don't know, he believed in God, I think, but I don't think he ever really took church too seriously. He was born, I think, Turkey or Greece. He was very Greek, very, very Greek. And his father died very, very young in his life, before he reached 6th grade. Actually, no, it was in 6th grade. Around that time, apparently, that his father died, and my grandfather quit the store and helped take over the grocery stand to support the family and all the rest of his siblings and his mother, my great grandmother that I never met. And he did that for a while. At age 16, he decided to join the Merchant Marines when he was 16, and his mother was very against it. And you have to be 18 to join unless your parents sign you in. So he forged his mother's signature and joined, and sent home almost the entire portion of his check. And he was doing that for about a year or two, and this was during World War II. And one day he was on the ship, and there was an explosion. It had been hit by a German U-boat. And they all got into the rafts, and the captain went back to go get his purse, and it blew up, and the captain went down with the ship. And they stood there on the life rafts when the German U-boat came up. Now, this next part sounds a little bit far-fetched, so it may have been some later embellishing by him or my grandmother's, and I'm not sure, but the German captain surfaced, and they were about to gun them all down when they started pleading with him. And apparently, luckily, the captain spoke perfect Greek. This was a Greek ship, apparently. And he pointed my grandfather and said, "Listen, this boy is supporting his family. You know, please let us live. You know, we're not military. We're just a merchant ship." And so they let him go, but didn't exactly give them a helping hand in any way. And they stood there. I think half of the crew died of hypothermia, or starvation, or a mixture of the two, something along those lines. And he eventually came to New York, and they were going to send him back, but he jumped ship and signed up for the Army. And back then, if you signed up for the Army, automatic citizenship, I think that might even still be today. I don't know. And he fought in World War II. I think he even fought on D-Day. Came back, was a furrier for a little while. Worked in a couple stores. Worked in a jewelry store. Eventually, he got up enough money to create a restaurant. And he ran that for a very long time. He married my grandmother when she was 18. They were very young. His boss, my great-grandfather, introduced them. And they got married, had a couple kids, And well, that was the part of his story. My grandfather was a very interesting man. Very hardworking. If he made $1, he put 99 cents in the bank. Some people might even call him cheap. But, well, let's just say my grandmother lives in a mansion right now. So he did a good job with that. And very, very hardworking man. Not very, also relatively grumpy. Very, very demanding of people around him that, they pull their weight. And, he wasn't a perfect guy. But as far as grumpy and serious as he was, he loved his Scotch at the end of the night. And he also, he loved his family. And he hated my father, because he didn't think my father was good enough for my mom. And to be fair, my dad was 7 years younger than my mom. I think they married when he was 19, and my mom was, I guess that would be 26. Well, he loved all of his family. He never really showed it very much, except for me. Really, I don't know why. I was the first. I guess I was his first grandson. Actually, his only grandson. My uncles had daughters, and I don't know. I always brought a smile to his face, I guess. So I loved him very much. We used to sit there when I was very young, eating watermelon and cantaloupe, watching boxing, and of course I'd ask him who was winning after pretty much every punch, which I'm sure drove him nuts. But he still loved me very much. And so yeah, I just thought I'd tell you that story, and this is to you, Papa. Cheers. Normally I drink bourbon, and I'm not usually a fan of Scotch, but this one is actually pretty good, pretty smooth, and got a distinct flavor that's not overpowering. I hope everyone enjoyed the story. Have a nice day. Honest Discussioner, out.